The vanishing girl, she walked into your life like a storm dressed in silk. You still remember the way she looked that night, the sharp laugh that cut through the noise of the bar, the eyes that scanned every man in the room without ever lingering until they locked with yours. She didn't smile. She didn't have to, because in that moment, you knew she chose you. And you, poor fool, thought you had one. It started hot. Every night was a movie. Her hair smelled like risk and her kiss tasted like a dare. She talked fast, loved harder, and disappeared slowly. At first, you didn't notice. Her replies got a little shorter. Her eyes wandered when you talked. She started canceling plans. You excused it all, because she once looked at you like you were fire. So when she finally vanished, it hurt like being unplugged from oxygen. No warning, no goodbye, just distance and silence. You told yourself she was busy, that she was scared, that maybe she just needed space. But deep down, you knew the truth. She didn't disappear. She withdrew slowly, strategically, like a lion bored with a pet. You just didn't want to believe it. This is the first law of female psychology no one teaches you. When she pulls away, it's not random, it's not emotional, it's a mirror. She wants to see how you react. Not because she's cruel, but because that's how she survives. She needs to know. Do you break when she backs away? Or do you hold your frame? Because how you react to her silence tells her everything she needs to know about your worth. You see, women don't test weak men. They test potential leaders. They test the ones they secretly want to submit to. And if you crumble when she disappears, she knows you weren't ready to be chosen. So she disappears fully. Not because you were a bad man, but because you stopped being the mountain. She left, but not to hurt you. She left because in her world, a man who can't hold his center will never hold her trust. By the end of this book, you'll understand every move she made. And more importantly, you'll become the kind of man she would never dare to walk away from again.
You waited. Not for a reply, because replies come from the living. You waited for a sign. Something to tell you it wasn't all in your head, and then it came. Hey, one word, 3 letters. Cold as glass. But to you, it was a door cracked open. You rushed to reply carefully, not too eager, but just enough. You typed, paused, deleted, typed again, you hit send, and she didn't answer. That's when you first met the wall of indifference. The second most powerful tool a woman has, right after her silence. She knew you were watching the phone. She knew your pulse jumped when her name lit up. She knew exactly what she was doing, because women don't communicate with words. They communicate with behavior. And her coldness, it wasn't accidental. It was a probe. Has he moved on? Or is he still orbiting me? This is what most men never understand. That every message is a message, even the empty ones. When she sends you hey, she's not talking. She's listening for your reaction. So you reply again. Something playful, something warm. Something that screams, I'm still here. And she vanishes again.
She comes back hotter than ever. It always happens when you least expect it. Just when your heart starts beating normally again. When you've begun sleeping without checking your phone first. She returns. Not with an apology. Not with a reason. Just ... Presents, a heart emoji on your old story. A thinking about you text at midnight. A random reel she sends that makes no sense. You stare at the screen, knowing exactly what this is. She's back. But it's different now. She's not chasing. She's hovering. Circling your energy like a hawk, waiting to see if the prey still bleeds. And you want to believe this is your moment. That she missed you. That she realized her mistake. But if you've been paying attention, if you've learned anything, this isn't love. This is gravity. Women return to what felt powerful, not what begged, not what pleaded, what stayed rooted when she walked away. And right now, you're either that man or you're pretending. Because the biggest mistake men make at this stage is rushing to open the door too wide. They flood her with attention. They validate her return. They act like nothing happened. And in doing so, they kill the mystery. You're the man who decides.
You have to understand. She didn't come back because she missed your presence. She came back because she missed your absence. Your silence. Your peace. Your refusal to chase. It haunted her, and now she needs to test it. So she shows up in full force. Hotter, kinder, playful, sexual. She gives you everything she withheld before in your ego. It eats it up. But what she's really watching isn't how you enjoy it. It's how you handle it. This is the part where most men lose frame again. They dive back into comfort, into familiarity, to fantasy. And when she sees you need her again, the cycle repeats. She pulls away. So this time you do it differently. You enjoy her, but you don't pursue. You welcome her, but you don't submit. You stay warm, but unmoved. Because attraction isn't kept alive by words or gestures, it's kept alive by polarity. She wants to feel your magnetism again, because you throw it at her, but because you withhold it with purpose. That's when her obsession grows. Not from comfort, from confusion. Why doesn't he react like before? Why is he still so calm? Does he want me, or is he just letting me exist here? The moment a woman starts asking those questions, you've won. Because you're no longer the man who reacts, you're the man who decides.
When she tests your masculinity, it doesn't always come as a scream. Sometimes, it comes as a soft sigh over dinner, a glance at her phone, a passive comment you've changed. You don't care like before. I don't even know what we are anymore. She says it like a complaint. But it's not. It's a probe. Because, here's the truth. A woman only tests your masculinity when she starts to feel too much for you. She's panicking. Not because you've become colder, but because she's started feeling warmer. And feelings, they make her vulnerable. So she does the only thing her ego knows how to do. She pushes. She picks fights over small things. Accuses you of not being present. Tells you she's confused. Threatens to leave. Not because she wants to leave, but because she wants to know you won't follow. This is the paradox. When a woman tests you hardest, what she's begging for is a man who won't flinch. If you try to talk her out of it, you fail. If you beg her to stay, you collapse. If you reassure too quickly, you lose polarity. She doesn't want reassurance. She wants reassurance through your stability. She wants to feel the fire in herself and the stone in you. So when she says, I don't know what I want, you don't panic. You smile. You hold eye contact. You say, that's okay. When she says, I think I need space, you don't fight it. You nod and say, take all the time you need. And when she storms out to see if you'll chase her down the street, you stay seated, because the only man she'll ever run back to is the one who didn't run after her. This is the final layer of attraction, not charm, not words, but presence. It's what makes her feel safe, not because you hold her tighter, but because you're unshaken when she tries to break you. Most men never reach this level. They're too afraid to lose her, too addicted to her attention, too afraid to be alone. But the Havalia man knows, if she can leave me that easily, she was never really mine. So he lets her test, lets her rage, lets her cry, and still he stays calm. He holds frame, because love isn't given through emotion. It's earned through respect, and a woman only truly respects the man she cannot shake. She didn't realize it at first. The silence felt familiar, like a pattern, like the part of the game where she disappears and waits for you to chase. But this time, you didn't panic, you didn't double text, you didn't collapse. You just vanished. 2 and days passed, then weeks, then months, until one night she looked around and saw no echoes of you anywhere. Your energy had left the room. The bond had been severed and she had cut the last thread herself. She scrolled through your old photos. She read the last message you sent. She hovered over the block list just to see if you were still watching. But you weren't. Because by then, you had grown. You had reclaimed your edge. You had reconnected with your purpose. You had found peace where her chaos once lived. And in that moment, a new truth hit her harder than any silence. He was never mine to lose. And I let go. That is the fate of the woman who tests a man past his threshold, who plays with fire so long, she forgets the flame could walk away. She thought she had time, but now time belongs to someone else. And you've become the ghost. Not out of vengeance, but because you finally understand, the only women who come back are the ones who were never meant to stay.